ಅಪರಾಧಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಟ್ಟೆಯೋ ಕರುಣಾಭಿ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಅಪರಾಧಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಟ್ಟೆಯೋ ಕರುಣಾಭಿ. ದುಷ್ಟರಾರು ಜನ ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿಯನ್ನ, ದುಷ್ಟರಾರು ಜನ ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿಯನ್ನ ಮೆಟ್ಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿ ಪುಡಿಗೊಟ್ಟುವರೈ ಹರಿ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಅಪರಾಧಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಟ್ಟೆಯೋ ಕರುಣಾಭಿ. ಲೇಷ ಪುಣ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ ಪಾಪದ ರಾಶಿ ಬೆಳೆಯಿತಲ್ಲ. ಲೇಷ ಪುಣ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ ಪಾಪದ ರಾಶಿ ಬೆಳೆಯಿತಲ್ಲ. ಆಶಾವಶ ಹರಿದಾಸರೆಂದೆನಿಸಿದೆ, ಆಶಾವಶ ಹರಿದಾಸರೆಂದೆನಿಸಿದೆ. ದೂಷಣ ಜನರ ಶಭಾಸಿಗೆ ಮೆಚ್ಚಿದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಅಪರಾಧಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಟ್ಟೆಯೋ ಕರುಣಾಭಿ. ಹೀನರೈವರ ಸಂಗದಿಂದಲೇ ಹಾನಿಯಾದೇನೋ ರಂಗ. ಹೀನರೈವರ ಸಂಗದಿಂದಲೇ ಹಾನಿಯಾದೇನೋ ರಂಗ. ಪ್ರಾಣವು ನಿನ್ನ ಅಧೀನವಾದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಪ್ರಾಣವು ನಿನ್ನ ಅಧೀನವಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀನೇ ಗತಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಾರಾಯಣ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಅಪರಾಧಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಟ್ಟೆಯೋ ಕರುಣಾಭಿ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಅಪರಾಧಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಟ್ಟೆಯೋ ಕರುಣಾಭಿ.
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Having promised Arjuna, Bhagavan gives the highest knowledge, the royal secret. In essence, what is the knowledge? So if you want to make it point by point, first one, Bhagavan describes his own nature. And what are the points to be kept in mind? Point number 1, Bhagavan says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat. I pervade this entire world. So point number 1, sarvagataha. We will summarize the whole thing now in few points. So Bhagavan is all pervading, sarvagataha. Point number 1. Point number 2, Bhagavan says, avyakta murtina maya tatam. So point number 2, avyaktaha. Avyaktaha means what? Indriya agocharaha. That which cannot be experienced through senses. So Bhagavan pervades the entire world in his unmanifest form. So first point, sarvagataha. Second point, avyaktaha. Third point. What is the third point? Mithya jagat adhishthanam. The very substratum, the very support of the world which is mithya. Mithya means illusory. Mithya jagat adhishthanam. Point number 3. Point number 4. Jagataha srishti sthiti laya karanam. The very cause of the creation, maintenance and dissolution of the universe. That is point number 4. Jagataha srishti sthiti laya karanam. Point number 5. Asangaswarupaha. Though Bhagavan is creating, maintaining and dissolving this universe at the same time, nothing affects him. He remains unaffected. He remains detached. So therefore, asangaswarupaha. This point is made clear with an example of wind in the space. Right. And the last point, the 6th point, kartrutva bhoktrutva rehitaha. The one who is free from doership and enjoyership. So these are the 6 points which are mentioned. This is the nature of the Lord. So who is this Lord? So we have discussed this is none other than consciousness in us. Consciousness is all pervading. Consciousness cannot be experienced through the senses. Consciousness is the very substratum of this entire world. It is the very cause of creation, sustenance and dissolution of the entire world. Consciousness is never affected by the changes in the world. And this consciousness is of the nature of non-doer, non-enjoyer. What does this consciousness do? It merely lends sentiency to the inert matter. So all the activities that we see in this world, from where does it gain the sentiency from? Life from? It gains from consciousness. Maya adhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam. So yesterday we had seen how by abiding in this consciousness, we are becoming in tune with the Lord. So therefore, everything happens freely, smoothly, and that itself is the intelligent way of living. Now Bhagavan speaks about those people who disregard this knowledge. Let us chant verse number 11. Avajananti mam moghāhā manushim tanumāśritam param bhāvamajanantah mama bhūtamaheshwaram avajananti mam moghāhā manushim tanumāśritam param bhāvamajanantah mama bhūtamaheshwaram. Yes. Moghāhā mam avajananti. The ignorant people, the foolish people, they ignore me. Avajananti, to ignore, to disregard, to disrespect, to neglect. Moghāhā mam avajananti. Foolish people, they ignore me. Who is this mam? All these adjectives are, all the other terms are the adjectives of this mam. Mam. Who is this mam? Manushim tanum ashritam mam. Me who resides in this human body. Who takes refuge in the human body. At least this is what we experience. Consciousness is within me. So these foolish people, though I am very much there in their own body, I am very much shining as the very consciousness in them. I am shining as the very self in them, as the very I in them. I am present as the very life in them. These foolish people, they ignore me. And who is this me? This me is param bhavam. Param bhavam ajanantah. Not knowing by higher nature. Not knowing my higher nature. These foolish people, ignorant people, ignore me. What is your higher nature, Bhagavan? Mama bhuta maheshwaram. I am the Lord of this entire universe. That Lord of the entire universe is present as a very consciousness. He is very, very present, is shining in the heart of all. But foolish people ignore me. This is what the message is. At a lower level, this verse can be taken as something told by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So Krishna is saying, I, the pure consciousness, has taken this form and has come in a manifest form in order to teach this. But what do the people think of me? They consider me as a mere human being. Manushim tanum ashritam mam. This is another explanation. Both are beautiful. It is said that when Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna took avatar, majority of the people never knew his greatness. Very, very rare few, maybe 6 or 7 people only knew that this is none other than Lord himself who has taken this human form. Very rare few, like Bhishma Pitamaha, Vedavyasa Rishi, Narada Rishi, etc. They only knew. Others, they thought he is a mere human being just like any one of us. At the most, he is a Mayavi, a magician, doing a lot of magics. That's all. Even though Bhagavan made it very clear, but no one could understand him. That is one meaning. But another beautiful meaning from the higher state is this consciousness is shining in each one of us. But what do the foolish people, ignorant people do? They ignore me. So therefore what happens? Therefore they suffer. How do they suffer? Next verse. Moghāsha mogha karmānaha mogha jñāna vichetasāhā rākshasīm āsurīm chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha moghāhā moghākarmāṇah moghajñāna vichetasāhā rākshasīm āsurīm chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Right. So here is a description of a verse. This verse describes the people who neglect the spiritual teaching and they live. How do they live? In one sloka, Bhagavan explains. So what is the unique characteristics of these people? So first term is moghajñāna. Here mogha means vain. People, those who possess vain knowledge. And therefore vichetasāhā. Viparita chetasāhā. Meaning, therefore, contrary, or what you call, having opposite understanding, false understanding, false evaluation of the world, and therefore moghāhā, therefore having vain hopes and desires, and therefore moghākarmāṇah, therefore having vain actions, performing vain actions. This is the way they live. So what is this moghajñāna? Anyone who is not exposed to the spiritual knowledge, what will they consider about themselves? I am body with an insignificant consciousness. What is that consciousness? They don't know. So they don't pay any attention to it. Who am I? I am body. This is called moghajñāna. In fact, it is not jnana, it is ajnana only. Moghajñāna means ajnana. So as far as they are concerned, they take themselves to be the body. What about the world? According to them, world is very much real. What about God? God doesn't exist. They are firmly convinced. Whatever I see, that alone is true. Whatever ears hear, that alone is true. If you develop a telescope, fine. Whatever you see through the telescope, that much is true. Improve the senses, whatever the senses bring in, that knowledge alone is true. This is called moghajñāna. So as far as they are concerned, they are very much clear about themselves. I am this body. Now with this understanding, they live life. They go through various experiences in life. Now the question is, experiences, do they make you wise? Experiences in life, do they make you mature and wise? Not necessary. If mere experiences can make you wise, all the old people must be wise. Isn't it? And that is not what we see in this world. Experiences alone don't make you wise. Experiences, when analyzed in the light of scriptural knowledge, make you wise. When you go through experiences, you derive certain conclusions. The question is, the conclusions which you derive through your experiences, are those conclusions right or not? Those conclusions bring in certain understanding about life. Are those understandings about life right or not? Just because you have gone through experiences in life, don't make you wise, don't make you mature. To give you an example, so there was this professor who wanted to discourage the youngsters from taking drinks, alcohol. So what did he do? He went to a classroom with one glass of rum, alcohol, and then in front of all the students there, college graduates, he put one worm. And within seconds, this worm got dissolved. So then he asked, my dear friends, what is the lesson you have learned from this? Then one boy stood up and said, sir, if you take alcohol, the worms in the stomach will die. Thank you very much for this information. Now see, A situation was there, he has seen things as it is, but what is the conclusion you derive? This is called vichetasāhā. Understanding is totally opposite. This is what happens when you don't analyze life's experiences in the light of scriptural knowledge. To give you a very simple example, the moment a person identifies with the body, naturally his desire will be for happiness. Where will he try to seek happiness? When he looks within, he finds that there is only body, mind, intellect, and in that you can never be happy. Right? Can a person be ever happy with this limited BMI? Never. So he looks within and he finds that there is no happiness. He feels bored whenever he is alone. Right? He finds that whenever he is alone, he is feeling bored. So therefore, he concludes that there is no happiness in me. Rather, he is happy when he is with others. He is happy when he indulges in the sense objects. So therefore, what is the conclusion he derives? Happiness comes from the world. Whenever I am with people, I am happy. Whenever I indulge in sense pleasures, I am happy. Right? So therefore, what is the source of my happiness? Source of my happiness is the world. This is the conclusion he derives from the experiences of his life. Now, is this conclusion right or wrong? It is absolutely wrong, because the source of happiness, it is not the world, it is me, myself. It is my nature. This is called moghāhā, leading to vichetasāhā. Viparita means opposite, contradicting understanding about life. Wrong evaluation about life because of wrong knowledge, vain knowledge. So world is the source of my happiness. Next, what will he do? Naturally, the next step will be moghāhā. Asha means he will desire. Asha means desires. So what kinds of hopes, aspirations and desires he will have? Since the world is the source of my happiness, let me gain all those things which can make me happy. So now he starts desiring the world. If such and such desire of mine comes true, I will be happy. Now he is chasing the things and beings of the world. So from moghāhā what comes? Mogha karmānaha. All his actions are vain. All his actions are meant to satisfy the senses. Because his understanding is happiness comes from the world. That is why we have so much of traffic jam here. Are you able to follow? Where are the people running around? Instead of going within, what are they doing? They are running around. Why are they running around? They are running around because all these actions are mogha karmānaha. They are running around because those actions have been compelled by mogha asha, vain desires and hopes. And those desires have come from vichetas, false understanding, wrong evaluation about life. And that has come from mogha jnana. Are you able to link it? One leading to the other. So what is the most important thing in life? Jnanam is the most important thing. Before living life, let us thoroughly understand. Let us thoroughly gain the knowledge about myself, Jiva, about the world, Jagat, and about God, Ishvara. First gain the knowledge about Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, and then live. Then everything will be fine. The first step itself is wrong. So therefore, then a series of mistakes we commit, and that is what we call as life. Isn't it? And most of the time we understand it by the time we are old. So when should this knowledge be gained? It should be gained at a very young age. That is why our, Our ancestors, they gave this knowledge in the Gurukula system itself at a very young age. I had been speaking about it some few days back. Small children were sent to Gurukulas and they were given this knowledge. And now what happens to them? These children, they will become a real asset for the society. But today what we see is, this knowledge is totally ignored, totally sidelined. Only materialistic knowledge is given. And now what kind of people will come out? What kind of generation will come out of materialistic knowledge? This is what is given in the next line. Rākshasim āsurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Small children are given only materialistic knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is totally kept aside. Now what kind of generation is created out of materialistic knowledge? Here is the line. Mohinim āsurim rākshasim prakritim shritaha. Mohinim, totally deluded. They have no idea about what is the purpose of life. Mohinim. Āsurim, who is an asura. Don't think asura is somewhere in the Purana, fighting war with devatas and all. No. Asura, there is a definition in Sanskrit. Asushu ramate iti asuraha. The one who revels in the senses or the sense pleasure is called an asura. The person who thinks that only sense pleasures are the real happiness. Therefore, the one who indulges in all kinds of pleasures illegitimately, such a person is called an asura, not the one with fangs and horns, etc. So in this, if this is the definition, there are very many asuras amongst us, isn't it? Then Rakshasa. Who is a Rakshasa? Again, don't misunderstand. Rakshasa is a person who don't mind giving pain to others for making himself happy. This is called a Rakshasa. He gives pain, he gives suffering to others, and he is not at all bothered. His thing should be done. Such a person is called a Rakshasa. It is a tamasic vritti. Āsurik vritti is a rajasic vritti. So tamasic and rajasic nature. Rakshasim, āsurim, mohinim shritaha. You can find plenty of examples based on this in the society. I have been listening so many stories of, how these patients are treated in the hospital. The body is dead. It is in the ICU, but they will not inform the relatives that it is dead. And what do? They write medical bills upon this dead body. All those medicines which are, has already attained the expiry date, and all those medicines are written upon this person. Relatives are thinking that this fellow is still alive in the ICU, but this person is gone. And then they make money. A person comes with a little cough or cold, and then the person is made to undergo so many tests. This scan, that scan, etc. I don't know what all things. And just, suck money from the person. What is this attitude? It is Rakshasim, Āsurim only. Remember, the person has done his MBBS. He has done all those MD, etc. Highly educated. But what is the thing which he is doing? Instead of blessing the society with his knowledge, he has become a curse for the society. Isn't it? This is what we see everywhere. Why is it so? This is so because spiritual knowledge has been sidelined. It has been ignored. Young generation must be exposed to this knowledge. Then alone there is any future at all. If at all there is any future for the country, there is only one way: exposing small children to this knowledge, explaining to them in the right way, making them understand. If this knowledge is neglected, this is all what you will find in the society. Don't blame the politicians, don't blame the government. Blame ourselves. What kind of knowledge we are giving to the younger generation? Rakshasim, āsurim, mohinim, prakritim shritaha. Various kinds of videos we see in Facebook, etc. How they, adulterate food. It is said that even the milk you cannot trust. Somewhere these videos are shown. The person is in the railway station, he is mixing some chemicals and then he is pouring water. There is no milk at all. But then when you just mix it, it becomes like a milk, one bucket full of milk. And then people are drinking tea out of it. And this person is asked, why are you doing like this? He is saying, milk has become costly, so this is what I do. All poisonous things. All this watermelon, etc., they inject colored sugar solution to make it red. All these videos we see. What is this? It is nothing but āsurik, rākshasik vritti. If I keep on telling it, there is no end. So I better stop it. We find enough such specimens in the society. Let us not blame them. Let us blame ourselves. We have neglected this knowledge. Therefore, we have such a generation around us. That is why it is called Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, the biggest mistake we do is we cut off the generation from this knowledge. On the contrary, so this is the description of Duratmas. On the contrary, Bhagavan now describes Mahātmās. Who are they? Let us spend more time on that rather than this. Mahātmānastu mam partha daivīm prakritimāśritāhā bhajantyanañya-manasah jñātvā bhūtādim-avyayam Mahātmānastu mam partha daivīm prakritimāśritāhā bhajantyanañya-manasah jñātvā bhūtādim-avyayam. Yes, Mahātmānah tu. Tu means but. But means now there is something which is totally opposite to the compared to the previous mentioned ones. Mahātmānah tu. But the Mahātmās, what do? Daivīm prakritim āśritāhā, possessed with daivī prakriti, divine virtues. Bhajanti ananya manasaha. Mam bhajanti, they worship me. Ananya manasaha, with single pointed mind. Why do they worship me? Jñātvā bhūtādim avyayam. They know me as the imperishable, as the very source of all beings. So therefore, they single pointedly worship me, possessed with all divine virtues. Daivīm prakritim. Now here is a Mahātmā. So now his understanding about life is very clear. Why am I living in this world? What is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to know my higher nature. I am already one with God, but this knowledge I am not experiencing because of my impure mind. So let me purify my mind. So therefore, what does he do? Daivīm prakritim āśritāhā. He is busy in only one thing, cultivating nobler virtues. Daivī prakriti it is called. Divine virtues. One chapter, 16th chapter, is especially dedicated to describe all these virtues. Daivī prakriti. The 16th chapter is called Daivāsura Sampat Vibhaga Yogaha. What are divine virtues and what are devilish virtues? The list is given in the 16th chapter. So what is this Mahātmā doing? This sadhaka doing, the seeker is doing? He is fully busy cultivating nobler virtues in life. So whenever he is exposed to the world, whenever he interacts with the world, every interaction he converts it to an opportunity to develop a virtue in himself. So all those virtues of honesty, humility, devotion for God, compassion, these are the virtues he tries to develop. Now see, he is not only blessing himself, he is blessing everyone else. Because now his goal is very clear. Why am I cultivating these virtues? I am cultivating these virtues because my mind has to be pure. Why should I want my mind to be pure? I want my mind to be pure because only in a pure mind, experience of my divine nature can take place. So my goal of life is to know myself. For that I need a pure mind, and to cultivate a pure mind I need these divine virtues. So therefore what happens? He is busy developing these daivī prakriti, devotion, dispassion, knowledge, etc. This is also a sampat. It is called as daivī sampat, a wealth. In this world there are three types of wealth. One is laukika sampat, which we all are aware of. Worldly wealth. What is this worldly wealth? Dollar, rupees, etc. Isn't it? We are aware how valuable it is. Now, more important than this laukika sampat is daivī sampat. Opposite of daivī sampat is āsurī sampat. What is āsurī sampat? That is also wealth. Anger, greed, jealousy, lust, these are all āsurī sampat. Now, any of these virtues you can cultivate. Virtue or vice, it is up to you to cultivate. And now remember, among these, which is more important, this laukika sampat or the daivī sampat, which is more valuable? The one thing which we have to possess, which is the one? It is daivī sampat. Why is it so? Remember, in life, everything is decided by what kind of sampat you have. Not laukika, but whether it is daivī or āsurī. This daivī āsurī, daivāsura sampat is nothing but the samskaras which we carry in our mind. Next birth is decided not by your laukika sampat. It is decided by your daivī sampat. If your mind is pure, if it is filled with devotion, dispassion, etc., in Bhagavad Gita itself the description is given. Such a person is born in a noble family, in a good family, isn't it? With body, mind and the senses firm, with good intellect, with good environment, such a person is born in a good family. So what decides everything about us? The body in which we are born, the environment in which we are born, the parents to whom which we are born, everything is decided not by the laukika sampat, it is decided by the daivī sampat. So which sampat has to be given importance? Now tell me, once you are born, can you purchase your body with your worldly wealth? No. Can you choose, I want human body? You can't. Isn't it? Remember, you need not be born as human being. You can be born as an animal or insect or plant, whatever. They are all jivas only. So everything is decided by what? It is not based on your laukika sampat. Foolish people give too much of importance to the worldly wealth, not recognizing that the real wealth is daivī sampat. In fact, if you have daivī sampat, the worldly sampat will automatically come to you. A person who is noble, straightforward, clean, pure-hearted, such a person will be respected and loved everywhere. Isn't it? So therefore, in life, we must give maximum importance to this daivī prakriti. Now, this Mahātmā is the one who is totally focused on this. His goal of life is only one, how to cultivate more and more of this daivī sampat. And more he cultivates it, this Ananya Bhakti becomes natural to him. Now, how a seeker evolves in the path of spirituality is beautifully brought out in the next verse. Let us chant that verse. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Yes. Satatam kirtayantaha, term number 1. Yatantaha, term number 2. Let us give it a logical sequence. Term number 2, yatantaha. Term number 3, namasyantaha. Term number 4, dridhavrataha. Term number 5, nityayuktaha. This is how a seeker slowly evolves and becomes a Mahatma. So what is the first term? Satatam kirtayantaha. First term. Whenever we hear the term kirtanam, we think of singing bhajans, isn't it? With dholak, etc. Of course, that is also a good way of remembering God, but real meaning of kirtanam has to be understood. Kirtanam means glorification. What is actual glorification? When you are inspired by some ideal, then that is a real kirtanam you are doing. Inspired by some higher ideal. This is real kirtanam. So satatam kirtayantaha means ever inspired by that ideal. Now here the ideal is spiritual ideal. A person is fully inspired to live that nobler way of life. Now how does he gain this inspiration? There is no other way. Satsang alone is the way. What is that verse? Satsangatve nisangatvam nisangatve nirmohatvam nirmohatve nischalatatvam nischalatatve jivan mukti. Which text? Bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. So the first one is satsang, association with the wise, exposure to the wise people, mingling with the wise, listening to the wise. This is the only way in which you can be inspired to live that higher value. There is no other way. What happens when you expose yourself to the wise people? You come to know that you are otherwise. Isn't it? For the first time you come to know that you are ignorant. Otherwise everyone thinks that I am the most knowledgeable person in this world. But the moment you expose yourself to the wise people, you come to know, oh my God, I never knew these things exist. I thought the purpose of life is only to study, get a job, get married, build a house, get settled, children, grandchildren, get them settled, and that's it. I never knew that there is a higher purpose in life. When do you come to know? You come to know only when you approach the masters. Isn't it? And then what happens? When you remain with them, when you interact with them, when you listen to them, slowly you are inspired. How are you inspired? You find that this person is the one who has no such laukika sampat, having almost nothing with him, but at the same time most contented, most happy, cheerful, very clear in his understanding about life. When you are exposed to such people, you come to at least have faith that this person is definitely living a right life, isn't it? Remember, whenever you come across peaceful people, happy people, you also tend to become happy, isn't it? And opposite is also true. Isn't it? As Puja Gurudev used to say, some people give happiness wherever they go, some whenever they go. This is true with everyone. When we interact with people, what kind of vibration this person is having? Vibration is not external, it is a kind of thought which he will take you to. Some people are there always complaining about everything in life. And within 5-10 minutes you are bored, you are disturbed, and you come out disturbed. Next time when you see that person, you run away. Isn't it? Because why to get unnecessarily disturbed? But there are some people, the moment you mix with them, you just be with them, interact with them, talk to them, and after 5-10 minutes you feel, all the problems of my what you call mind. I feel as though my mind has become lightened. That heaviness of the mind has gone. Mind has become fresh. You feel like that. Then what you do? You tend to go and meet that person again and again. Yes or no? Yes. And slowly, when you listen to these Mahātmās, you come to know that yes, there is a higher way of living. There is a higher purpose of life. And then a time comes when you are inspired. This is called satatam kirtayantaha. Now there is a purpose in your life. There is a goal in your life. You may have short-term goal, long-term goal, immediate goal, etc. But now your lifetime goal becomes very clear. What is the lifetime goal? There is only one: knowing my divine nature. It becomes very clear to you. Once it becomes clear to you, the next step happens automatically. What is the next step? Yatantaha. Yatantaha means striving. Once you are inspired by a higher goal, you cannot but strive for it. Yatantaha, striving. To the extent you are clear about the goal, to that extent your striving becomes intense and single-pointed. Once the goal is clear, and this goal becomes clear through Shravanam and Mananam. Listening to the scriptures, reflecting upon the scriptures. The more and more you reflect, the more and more the goal becomes clear to you. And in the light of this scriptural knowledge, when you analyze your experience, these experiences make it sure that scriptural knowledge is the ultimate and this alone should be the goal of life. Then each and every experience which you go through in life make you wiser day by day. Then you become what you call very clear about the goal. Now you strive to gain that goal. Yatantaha. But now in this striving you will find lot of difficulties. What is the difficulty? For so many years and so many births you have lived in the wrong way. So therefore lot of vasanas are there in the mind. Lot of addictions are there. Lot of negative inclinations are there. Tendencies are there. So in the beginning you find it very, very difficult. So now there is a tug of war between your mind and the intellect. The mind which is used to living the negative ways of life, compromising with everything in life, this is one side. On the other side, the intellect which has gathered the new knowledge from the scriptures. Now here is a tug of war. Intellect wants you to live a spiritual way. Mind wants you to live the indulgent worldly way. Now in the beginning who wins? It is always the mind which wins. Intellectually I am very clear, but I am not able to live it. This is the problem. Every seeker has to undergo this problem. There is no choice. Very many times you fail. And many times you feel, I think I am not fit for this path at all. What a person I am. You feel very sad, very miserable. I know that this is wrong, but even then I am doing it. What a tragedy. I know my mind is showing me the wrong direction, but even then I tend to follow that mind. This is the struggle. Yatantaha. Now this period is quite a long period, but one thing is for sure, as you keep struggling, slowly, your intellect start becoming more and more stronger. Your intellect becomes more and more stronger. Because now intellect is fighting with a monster like mind. Naturally, when you fight with a strong person, what should become to you? You should become strong. When you fight with the strong, you become strong. And this way, slowly, the power gets transferred from mind to the intellect. Every time when we compromise, when we fail, when we yield to temptations, by God's grace, after the temptation is over, the wisdom comes. After yielding to temptation, the wisdom comes. So when the wisdom comes, the intellect says, see, I have told you not to do this. Now you suffer. Isn't it? So slowly, by falling very many times, the intellect slowly becomes stronger. But even then, it becomes almost impossible to handle the mind. Bhagavan himself says, daivī hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Bhagavan has said it. It is impossible to cross over my Maya. Crossing over the Maya means winning over the mind, conquering the mind. Bhagavan has said it is impossible. So then what happens? A time comes when you are putting forth all your effort to conquer the mind, but you find that this mind is terrible. Pramathi balavadridham, chanchalam, asthiram. These are the terms used about the mind. And then comes a time when you are totally exhausted. You have used all what you could do, but even then you are failing. Then what happens? Then comes the next stage, namasyantaha mam bhaktya. Then comes total surrender. A time comes when you say, Bhagavan, I think I cannot reach you. With my force, with my strength, I will never be able to reach you. Bhagavan, you only have to lift me. I surrender. Now remember, this surrender will not come until you have put forth all your effort. This surrender will not come. Because why? If you have not put forth effort, you still have hope that maybe a little more effort and I will reach. You still have confidence upon your own ability, your own strength. As long as you are confident upon your own strength, remember, you can never win over the mind. Why? Because confidence in one's own strength is nothing but ego. An egoistic person can never win over the mind. Simple. A time comes in every seeker's life where he is putting forth his best of effort. Sadhana is there. He is sincerely striving in spiritual path, but there is no success. And then comes this wonderful moment where you say, Bhagavan, I am helpless. Trahimam, pahimam. Bhagavan, save me. I can't. I will never be able to reach you. And the moment that surrender happens, Bhagavan's grace, that very same moment, it descends. And when the grace it descends, you find this monster mind is nowhere there. It becomes tame. It becomes very, flexible, very obedient, very nice, peaceful. And then you learn a great lesson. What is the greatest lesson you learn? If I want to handle this mind, there is only one way. I have to surrender in front of God. Surrender to God alone is the way in which I can conquer this mind. Otherwise, it's not possible. Daivī hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. But mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Those people who take refuge in me, they will cross over this maya. This is the only condition. So therefore what happens? Slowly, this experience comes to you again and again. You are striving, you are not winning, and ultimately you surrender, and the moment you surrender, the mind is quiet. When this experience comes to you time and again, slowly, this surrendering unto God becomes your way of life. Surrendering unto God means doing everything in order to please God. Now slowly, what happens to your life? Earlier you were doing egoistic sadhana. Now you do a sadhana which is based more on surrendering unto the Lord, which is based more on pleasing the Lord. Now slowly, what happens to your life? You always ask only one question: Bhagavan, if I do this, will you be pleased with me? That's it. This is a great lesson to be learned. Without taking the help of God, you can never conquer the mind. Know it for sure. It is impossible. Without taking refuge in Him, you can never conquer the mind. And more you come to know this truth, more and more your life will be a God-oriented life. God-oriented life means what? Your goal becomes only one. Oh God, are you pleased with my action? If this action will not please you, I will not do it, though I may like doing it. If this action pleases you, I will do it, even though I may not like doing it. This is called God-oriented living. Every time you have only one question to ask: Bhagavan, will you be pleased with me with this action? So every day, morning and evening, you sit for meditation, you are with God, you converse with God. You strike a conversation. And every time you close your eyes, you know that this consciousness in you is God. Now you are in front of God. So if you have done something immoral, something bad, that first thing comes in front of your mind. Isn't it? And then you know there is a conscience prick. And that prick of conscience clearly reveals to you that Bhagavan is not happy with you. Then what do you try to do? Now this becomes your greatest asset in life. That Bhagavan must be pleased with me. Then you try out so many methods. Bhagavan, please, sorry, this place, such and such place, I have committed a mistake. Please forgive me. And when that prayer comes from the depth of the heart, suddenly you will find the tears welling up in the eyes and the mind is clean. So now you understand Bhagavan has forgiven me. He is loving me. Now you know the value of that love much more. Once you experience that intimate relationship with God, you don't want to miss it. Because you come to know that whenever I am with God, peace comes to me naturally. Confidence comes to me naturally. Strength comes to me naturally. Everything that is blessed, everything that is auspicious comes to me naturally whenever God is pleased with me. So my only job in life is to make Bhagavan pleased with me. So all your actions are fine-tuned in order to gain this result. But there are moments when we tend to yield to our temptation because of our past vasanas. We become little careless and then that tempting object is in front, we yield. Then what happens? That evening when you sit for meditation, you had it. When you are yielding to temptation, nothing will be there because your mind is extrovert. As long as the mind is extrovert, you will never know the voice of God. What is He saying? You will never know. Because you are not listening. And as you are not listening, you think that there is no voice. It is there. But at the seat of meditation, when you look within, you come to know there is this Bhagavan with... I hope you are following what I am saying. This way, slowly, relationship develops. And then what happens to you? You become dridhavrataha, next term. Dridhavrataha means the one who is firm in his vows. Once he has taken a vow, he will not deviate from it. Dridhavrataha. How did he become dridhavrataha? Now he has only two options. One option is indulge and become miserable in front of God. Because he knows, if I indulge, I will not be in a position to face God. And moreover, I will lose everything that is good and auspicious. The other option is do what is right and be ever under the loving grace of God. The choice becomes very clear to him. So therefore, slowly he becomes dridhavrataha. Whatever is right, he does it. And whatever is right, he starts loving it. Whatever is wrong, he hates it. Bas, problem is over. It takes time, no doubt, but it happens. Slowly it happens. Slowly, such a person becomes an integrated person, having an integrated personality, which is termed here as nitya yuktaha, ever integrated. So see how slowly you develop. Satatam kirtayantaha. First you keep the goal, then you strive. And as you keep striving, you will find divine guidance coming to you. Every time you fall, there is this divine presence which will say, okay, no problem, get up. Doesn't matter. So then you come to know, my God, Bhagavan is really an ocean of compassion. Because how many mistakes I am doing, but even then Bhagavan gives me another chance. Come on, get up. Don't worry. Forget the past. Come on. And then you find so much of love for God. Then this divine relationship grows day by day. Now these things cannot come by reading books. No. You may be a scholar, but still all these experiences you will miss if you are not regular in your sadhana. Morning and evening you have to sit. You have to spend time with God. Then you will come to know all these secrets, the mysteries. And more you're tuned to God, all your actions become effortless and tension-free, stress-free. All your actions also become divine. You become a perfect instrument in the hands of the Lord. Otherwise, we are perfect instruments in the hands of Satan, devil, isn't it? This way, when the tuning happens properly, you start really enjoying life. And the price is, yes, sometimes it is called as walking the razor's edge. Why is it called walking the razor's edge? See, in the beginning it is not razor's edge. In the beginning, even if when you commit mistake, there is no one to blame you, and you don't feel the conscience prick also. In the beginning you never feel. But slowly, as you go nearer and nearer to God, as God starts feeling that yes, you are one of my bhaktas, when He starts accepting you, then you feel all this pain. Are you able to follow? As long as God is a stranger, you will never experience this. But every day when you do sadhana, every day when you start cleaning your mind, just like we clean our body, mind has also to be cleaned. As you clean the mind, as you make the mind more and more pure, you are able to listen to the voice within. You are able to listen to the guidance within. Then there is only one job, just follow the guidance. Bas. And this guidance becomes clearer and clearer as the mind becomes purer and purer. Therefore, the Mahātmās give maximum importance to daivī prakriti. Understand, they are all connected. The guidance, the love, the peace, all these you experience as you near God. And the moment you commit some mistake, you are like fish out of water. The whole world will be praising you, but in the eyes of the Lord, if you have not made Him happy, you are like fish out of water. You are miserable. The whole world may be criticizing you, but in the eyes of the Lord, if you are pure, then you can face the whole world with the strength of a lion. It is possible. This is how the devotee rises slowly. In fact, Bhagavan Himself lends hand to him and He takes him higher and higher, step by step. For all this thing to happen, what is important? Your regular sadhana is very, very important. Just by reading books, nothing is going to happen. Reading books, we can give you only information. Information is not transformation. Here, the person transforms. A time comes when even when the temptation is in front, nothing happens to him. Why nothing happens to him? Because the joy of indulgence is much less than the pain of repentance. So even when that object is in front, even though he knows that this object can give me pleasure, but he will never dare to indulge in it because he knows the consequences. Such a person becomes nitya yukta and dridhavrata, firm. He comes to know everything this world can offer is nothing but pain. There is only one who can really give me happiness and peace. It is God. Such a person becomes master of the world and master of his mind. This is what God makes. The moment you choose God, He will make you the master of your mind and master of the world. The moment you choose world, you will become a slave of the world and slave of your mind. Choice is yours. Whom to choose your master? God or world? So this is the difference between Duratma and Mahātmā. Have you seen the difference? On one side, moghāhā, moghakarmānaha, moghajnāna vichetasāhā, rākshasīm āsurīm chaiva, prakritim mohinīm sritaha. On one side. Another side, Mahātmās description. Nitya yukta, dridhavrata. Now tell me, who enjoys life? Duratma or Mahātmā? It is always Mahātmā who enjoys life. But yes, in the beginning, agre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam. In the beginning it is like poison. Your mind is tempting you to indulge, but your intellect says no. The voice of God says no, you are not supposed to indulge. It is like poison. You have to give up the pleasures of the world. Agre vishamiva. In the beginning it's like poison, but pariname amrutopamam. It is like nectar. What about this worldly pleasure? Agre amrutopamam. In the beginning it is nectarian. Pariname vishamiva. End result is poisonous. Continuing this Mahātmā state, let us just chant this verse number 15. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena pruthaktvena bahudha vishvato mukham. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena pruthaktvena bahudha vishvato mukham. So here is a verse which describes how this Mahātmā enjoys the company of God. After having become one with God, now he is reveling in that state. How does he do it? We will see tomorrow. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.